Hey, what's up, gamers and Chuck fans? It's K-Wing here, continuing our look at the series Chuck in my video review for the episode Chuck vs. the Other Guy. Now, Chuck has been a major roller coaster thrill ride this past season, filled with its ups and downs. It also managed to alienate a lot of Chuck fans with the whole breaking off of Chuck and Sarah at the beginning of the season, as opposed to how they ended the second season with them starting to get together. Now, like my Turtles Forever review, this video is based not only on my viewpoint as a fan, but also as a reviewer. So, let's get this shindig started. Okay, if you watched the previous video, then you got some background about what the show is and who the characters are. Before watching this review, though, I suggest taking a look at the first video if you're confused by some of the things I'm stating. Or if you're watching this on my Blip TV account, then this video is still all one video, so no worries. The episode opens with Shaw and Sarah's weapons drawn, infiltrating some ring building. Sarah sees her red test on the viewing screen, and Shaw says that the woman Sarah killed was his wife. Meanwhile, back at the Bymore, Chuck is begging Casey for his help in saving Sarah, as her locator just came on. Casey gives Chuck a number to call a strike team to save Sarah and reminds Chuck that he is no longer an agent, and this is the best he can do. Chuck and his team discover Sarah and Shaw's location, and Chuck ends up infiltrating the base, but ends up calling off his massive army, stealth bombers, and even a tank very comically. Back at the castle, General Beckman gives the team their new orders and reprimands Chuck for his SWAT team, basically. Back at the Bymore, Morgan actually quits his job secretly to join Team Chuck in Rome. However, back at the apartment, things aren't really looking well for Morgan's future as a spy. One of the things I've always loved about Chuck is how he likes to play video games when he's very depressed to take his mind off his worries. Because there are a lot of gamers I know that do that, and even yours truly at one time likes to take my mind off my problems by playing lots of video games. Anyway, Morgan finds Chuck pining over Sarah, playing Guitar Hero, and drowning his sorrows with alcohol. When Morgan tries to help Chuck snap out of this, Chuck flashes on him and ties him up with all the vintage controllers that are on the floor. So this is the only part of the episode I didn't really like. Sarah comes into the house and uses her knife to cut through all of Morgan's binds. So basically she ruined all those classic controllers for nothing. It's like she couldn't take a minute to untie all those controllers. Do you guys have any idea how rare some of those controllers are, especially the NES Zapper? How in the world are Morgan and Chuck supposed to have their duck hunt matches now, huh? I mean, I suppose they could splice the wires together, but oh man, that's such a waste. Anywho, she and Chuck end up talking for a bit, and Chuck asks her, frankly, "Do you love me?" To which Sarah responds, "Yes, I've always loved you." And they kiss! Yes, that means Cher are now officially together, so hence why people call them Cher, because it means Sarah and Chuck. But anyway, so the fans should be happy and should start watching the show again. Sarah came into the house like she did in the past seasons to tell Chuck that they have a brand new mission. And after the mission, they're actually going to go and straighten out their relationship that needs work, trust me. Later on at the mission, Chuck thinks that Shaw is out to get them, so he doesn't trust him. So Sarah tries to calm him down and tell him, look, you need to focus on the mission at hand, and then we can be all lovey-dovey later. So then what happens, Chuck actually captures the ring director, and the comedy ensues. I mean, the elevator scene is just hilarious. Then what happens is Shaw shows up and rescues the team and supposedly kills everybody. But after Chuck leaves, it's like the Night of the Living Dead because all the bad guys come back to life. And Shaw is revealed to be an agent for the ring now. Personally, all along, I thought that Shaw was a double agent. I mean, I always thought he was training Chuck into this super soldier to take out the ring and was using Sarah and Chuck's relationship to manipulate Chuck. All Shaw ever cared about was his wife's murder and getting vengeance on the ring. The reason why I thought Shaw was using Team Chuck from the get-go is a scene in General Beckman's office, where Shaw leaves to meet the team even though General Beckman pleaded with him not to because they're not ready. What's funny is the character is actually played by Brandon Routh, Superman Returns, and he and his wife are actually a huge fan of Chuck, and they were actually Cher fans. Because of what Shaw ends up doing, Chuck and Sarah are now officially together. So whether you like Brandon Routh's character or not, you have to thank Shaw for finally getting these two together. No more lies, no more fake cover. They love each other, and the relationship resumes where it left off after Chuck versus the Ring. Still, I can't help but think this isn't the last time we've heard or seen from Shaw. Remember, Bryce got shot and the Ring saved his life too. Okay, enough rambling from me. Let's finish this review, shall we? After Shaw and Sarah have left for a new mission in Paris, being the nerd that Chuck is, he downloaded Shaw's fight to watch it because he thought it was so cool. However, he learns that the fight was actually staged after Morgan carefully looks at the footage to say, hey, look, man, Shaw's pulling his punches and kicks. So what happens is Chuck gets all emotional and freaked out, and he wakes up General Beckman in the middle of the night, and he ends up getting suspended. Very rarely do we get to see Beckman in a comedic role, and she was absolutely hilarious. And the look on Morgan and Chuck's face when he got suspended was perfect. So basically what happens is Chuck goes to John Casey to re-enlist him. I'm loving the interaction in this scene between Morgan and Casey too. Ever since Casey got fired, I've just been following his civilian life and loving every minute of it. And I can see why he is my wife's favorite character, because he's just so well developed in this season. Meanwhile, in Paris, Shaw and Sarah arrive at the place of her red test where she killed Shaw's wife. Shaw then reveals to Sarah that he is a double agent and works for the Ring, and that he must kill the CIA's best agent in retaliation for his wife's murder. However, Chuck comes to her rescue and ends up fighting Shaw. On the bridge, Chuck and Shaw face off, and a shot is fired. The episode concludes with Casey getting his job back and Morgan becoming a member of Team Chuck. But like Chuck, his cover is still at the Buy More. I love it! Chuck and Sarah are in Paris, and even though Chuck killed a man, he told her he did it to save her because he loves her and he wants to protect her. Sarah is overwhelmed and she's happy. She loves Chuck, and she knows that he is the same Chuck that she's always loved. They share a kiss, fade to black, and Chuck is now on hiatus for 3 weeks. I mean, wow. All in all, this episode just has to be the best in this season by far. It had everything Chuck fans have been waiting for 2 years. But the most important aspect of what happened in Chuck versus the Other Guy is Chuck and Sarah are officially now together. If somehow you guys missed this episode, be sure to watch it on NBC, Hulu, or the PlayStation Network, and it will be available until June 1st of 2010. I strongly recommend you watch this as soon as possible. Even if you're new to Chuck, this episode will definitely pull you into the show because it was amazing. It had action, it had suspense, it had romance, it had comedy. The show is just so amazing. It's so hard to describe, you know? But sadly, the drama isn't over quite yet because, see folks, NBC has not renewed Chuck for a 4th season. So you're probably wondering, how in the world can I help Chuck? You can help Chuck by going over to vote for E's annual Save Our One Show petition going on now through April 5th through April 11th. Your vote really counts, and if Chuck wins, then E will send the petition to NBC demanding that the show is saved. You can also help Chuck in 3 weeks by watching his newest episode on April 26th at 8/7 Central on NBC. Make sure you tune in for Chuck and you tell your friends and family to watch the best show on TV right now. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. If you're a gamer, you will love this show. If you like spy stuff, you will love this show. If you like romance, you will love this show. It has something for everybody, and not many shows can say that. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching my review of Chuck versus the Other Guy and also my synopsis of the Chuck series. I don't know if I will be doing more show reviews in the future, but who knows? I hope you all really enjoyed it. I had a blast making this, and I hope you guys will check out my favorite TV show. This is K-Wing as always saying God bless and happy viewing. Until we meet again, Chuck fans.